யாதும் உரே யாவரும் கேடீர்.
செம்மொழி வலையொலி யூடியூப் சேனல். இந்த சேனலின் மூலமாக, அந்த வலையொலியின் மூலமாக பல்வேறு தகவல்களை தினந்தோறும் நாங்கள் வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த நிலையில் சிலப்பதிகாரம் என்ற தலைப்பில் ஒவ்வொரு பகுதியாக வழங்கக்கூடிய அந்த தொகுப்பை முழுமையாக கண்டு பார்க்கலாம்.
The old and modern Sanskrit scholars and critics who shy away from the 8th and later sargas because they picture Shiva and Parvati as a pair that loves each other with a wild erotic joy seem to be unaware of a particular literary tradition embodied in ancient Paribadal poems. Anandavardhana observes that there were critics who deemed it wrong to depict the love of two deities, and Keith, mentioning this, adds, the subject is unquestionably a daring one. The events which bring about the marriage of the highest god Shiva to Uma and the birth of Skanda, the war god. But the ancient Tamils, being great aesthetes, to whom poetry was not a pastime but a way of life, were never too squeamish to bring their gods into the realm of love poetry. The courtship of Murugan and Valli was constantly celebrated in numerous ways. But what is significant is that one of the legitimate themes of Paribadal is love fused with divinity. Perasiriyar says, one of the commentators on Tolkapiyam, says, of the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, this poetic genre will have Kama as its subject, that is Paribadal, will have Kama as its subject in its parts on the prayer to God and play on the hillside and in the spring. In his commentary on a different Nurpa of Tolkapiyam, Nachinarkinir also observes that in Paribadal, concerned with the ways of the world, even the invocation to God will be about the subject of love. Yapparungala Viritti Udayar clearly states that the association of love with deities in a Paribadal is not a blemish. Deivam Kamam Mayil Purulam Paribadalle. In most of the extant Paribadal poems, there is an intermingling of scenes of devotion to the Lord with the scenes of love making, very much like the statues in our temples depicting erotic scenes. The 9th poem by Kundram Pudanar, paying a tribute to Tirupparamgundram, one of the abodes of Murugan, dramatizes the fight for supremacy between Valli and Devasena, the two wives of the Tamil god, and even advocates the pleasures of clandestine love, which is reported to be superior to wedded love. It is said that there were 31 poems on Murugan in the original Paribadal collection, and a knowledge of one or two of them, or of the genre itself, would have emboldened the Sanskrit poet Kalidasa to bring together erotism and divinity, though he oversteps the limit in certain places, much to the great chagrin of some of the later generations of his commentators. Paribadal, now recognized to be the first of religious poems written in any Indian language, gives the first Tamil version of the birth of Murugan according to Kamil Zwalabil. And in this area also, there is reason to conclude that Paribadal has had its impact on Kalidasa. Now that everything seems to hinge on the date of Paribadal, it may be proper and desirable to settle that question before we proceed further. Tirumurugatrupadai, Kalittogai and Paribadal are generally considered to be late Sangam works, while Agananuru, Kurundogai and Natrinai are of an earlier period. But not all Paribadal poems were written later than Agananuru. Nallanduvan is the author of 4 Paribadal pieces, including the 8th on Murugan, in which he claims that since the Tirumurtis and numerous other devas have come to worship the deity of Tirupparangundram, it is comparable to the Himalayas and its spring to the famed Saravanapaigai, both reenacting the scene of Kumara's glorious birth. The poem by Nallanduvan ends with his moving tribute to the sacred hill, that is Tirupparangundram, as the lovers that never part from each other and the others that seek the blessings of the son of the blue-throated Lord and the lady of a spotless character will venerate the temple. O hill, may you retain the wealth of water in your stream even when the whole earth suffers from want of rain. Nallanduvan and his love for the hilly abode of Murugan are mentioned in an Agananuru poem by no less a poet than Marudhanayagam of Sangam fame. In that poem, we come across lines such as these: Surmarungaruthu Sudarilai Neduvel Sirmigu Murugan Thanparam Kundrathu. This can be evidence enough for the particular Paribadal poem to be as old as any early Sangam poems. Also, we come across the line Anduvan Padiya Sandhigadu Neduvarai Inthim Painjunai, that the story of Kumara's birth, as narrated by the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, could not have been a source of Kalidasa's version in Kumarasambhavam, is made clear by some Sanskrit scholars according to whom they differ so materially. In the Mahabharata, Vanaparvan Adhyayas 225 to 223 to 225 clearly state that Kumara is the son of Agni. While wandering on the Manasa mountain, Indra, on the lookout for a leader of the army of gods, comes across a young lady crying out for help and drives away Kesin, who is chasing her with evil intentions. This maid happens to be Devasena, daughter of Daksha, who desperately seeks someone to marry her. Brahmadeva, approached by Indra on her behalf, declares that her husband will be the future general of the gods. Meanwhile, Agni lusts after the wives of the Saptarishis, and his wife Swaha, assuming the forms of 6 of them, gratifies his desire. Kartikeya, a 6-faced child, is born of Agni's semen, and immediately after birth pierces the Krauncha hill and destroys the Sweta mountain with arrows. The divine child, brought up by Vishwamitra, dares to fight with Indra, but is finally reconciled with him. Indra appoints him chief of the army of gods, besides giving Devasena in marriage to him. The Anusasana Parvan and the Salya Parvan of Mahabharata also speak of Kartikeya's birth, but in different ways. In the Balakanta of Ramayana, the mighty god is described as the son of Agni and the Ganges and called Agnisambhava. Examining the various versions of the birth of Murugan, Kamil Zwelabil observes that the Paripadal version differs significantly from the northern versions about the birth of Murugan. This is from Zwelabil. The original Tamil Murugan was the son of Kottravai, the mother goddess of war and victory. Later myth makers, however, must find a father for Murugan. They do not accept Rudra or Agni as his father, although either one of these gods is the father of the northern Skanda. Why? Because neither Rudra nor Agni are important and well-known gods in the Tamil country. On the contrary, it is Shiva, the great god, the god who emerged with the development of powerful feudal kingdoms in the south, the god king of the Tamils, who is important in Tamil Nadu. Hence the Tamil myth makers substitute Shiva as the father of the composite Skanda Murugan in the south. According to Sanskrit sources, Skanda was not born of any mother. So this is the account given by Zwelabil. So far as the parentage of Skanda is concerned, Kalidasa's account is closer to the Tamil versions than to the Sanskrit ones. There is a brief reference to the circumstances of Murugan's birth, followed by his varied achievements in Tirumurugatrupadai. These are the descriptions that we come across in Tirumurugatrupadai. Nedumberum Simayathu Neela Painjunai Aivarul Oruvan Angai Yerpa Aruvar Payanda Aramar Selva. The six-faced deity, born of the six ladies in the blue stream of Himalayas the Great, received by the hand of one of the five gods, that is Agni. In a well-known passage, the fifth poem of Paripadal gives a more detailed account of Murugan's birth. This is from Paripadal. Shiva refrained from sexual union with Uma, and because of the boon granted to Indra, keeping his promise to the latter, cut the fetus into pieces with his fiery axe, much to the horror of the seven worlds. The seven rishis, as a result of their samadhi, comprehending the identity of the embryo, desired to take care of it so that their wives could give it birth, but being concerned with the reputation of their wives, threw the parts into the threefold sacrificial fire, uttering, "Let him bear himself." The six women, Shalini accepted, ate the offering and delivered themselves of 6 children in a pond in the Himalayas. When attacked by Indra's Vajra, the 6 bodies got united into a single child with 6 faces and 12 hands. Kalidasa's version is not faithful to any one Puranic or literary account, but resembles the Tamil version inasmuch as it underlines the role of Shiva and Parvati in the miraculous coming into being of Skanda. When Shiva prolongs his dalliance with his newly wedded wife Uma for centuries, Agni approaches him first in the shape of a dove, then in his own person, begging his aid for the birth of a hero that will destroy Taraka. As Shiva with the 6 faces looks at Parvati with intense carnal desire, his 6 forehead eyes emit tejas, bright as a crore of suns. Agni accepts the semen into his mouth, and from the seed of Shiva thrown into the Ganges and shared by the Kritikas, Pleiades, Kumara is born in 6 distinct shapes, which when embraced by Parvati grow into a single child with 2 legs, 6 faces and 12 shoulders. The poet waxes eloquent over Parvati's love for her child in more than one canto in Kumarasambhavam, and goes back to it with equal zeal in his Raghuvamsam also. In Kumarasambhavam, Parvati almost becomes an ideal human mother to the child that is called Kangeya, Saravanabhava, Kartikeya and Skanda, and brought up in Kailasa. Lord Shiva is portrayed as a proud father who tells his wife how their child will perform several heroic deeds, such as imprisoning Brahma himself and wiping out the dreadful Asuras. In more than one place in Raghuvamsam, the love of the divine pair for the divine child is described in human terms, stressing the physical relationship. The Devadaru, these are the descriptions. The Devadaru tree that you see there has been adopted as a son by the bull-bannered god and has become capable of appreciating the flavor of Skanda's mother's milk flowing out of her breasts. The bark of this tree was once peeled off by a wild elephant, and on that account the daughter of the Himalaya bemoaned it, just as she would grieve for Skanda wounded by the missiles of demons. In addition to Tirumurugatrupadai, a hymn in praise of Murugan, and the 8 Paribadal poems devoted to the Tamil god, the earliest works Agananuru, Purananuru, Nattinai, Kalitogai, Aingurunuru, Madurai Kanji, Kurinjipattu, Kurundogai, Paditrupattu, Patinapalai, Perumbanaatrupadai, and Malaipadugadam, all abounding in tributes to the divine symbol of beauty and heroism, must have had a deep impact on Kalidasa and urged him on to compose an epic on Skanda, who had become a much favoured national deity. It is more for some literary features than for the Tamil version of the story of Murugan's birth and achievement that he is indebted to Paribadal and Tirumurugatrupadai. That is Kalidasa. He has conceived Kumarasambhavam not as an epical narration of the birth, life and deeds of a single hero, but as a series of dramatically effective scenes modelled upon the ones in the 2 Tamil poems. The masterpiece of Nakirar, that is Tirumurugatrupadai, divided into 6 parts devoted to the 6 war camps of the leader of the army of gods, consists of a few idyllic, evocative scenes indicative of the glory of Murugan and hence dear to the heart of his devotees. In the first part, Murugan's appearance and Tirupparamgundram's scenic beauty and the dance and deeds of the divine damsels who worship the god gain prominence. The use of the 6 faces and 12 hands by the benevolent Lord to protect the good and to punish the wicked becomes the burden of the second part of the poem. In the next we witness a long procession of bhaktas, including the big three and numerous devas and saints who have come to pay homage to the Lord of Avinankudi. The way the duty-bound Andanar worship him and the rituals they perform find a succinct description in the section on Yeraham. The penultimate part of the poem contains a prayer in the form of a panegyric celebrating the birth and supremacy of Murugan, whose background and multifarious activities are expressed in exquisite apostrophes like Aruvar Payanda Aramar Selva, Alkazhu Kadavut Pudalva, Malaimahal Magane, Matror Kootre, Kotravai Sirva, Parayol Kuravi, Thanai Talaiva, Nulari Pulava, Pulavar Yere, and Kurisil. These are the terms used to describe Murugan. The poem ends with a picturesque description of a cascade flowing down the rocky hillside of Paramudir Solai, the sixth abode of Murugan.